Today we're taking a look at these NBA matches, which are happening on Thursday, December 23, 2021, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. 5 plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 500 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting advice that ends up costing you a lot of money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks and advice. In their game Monday in Chicago, the Rockets lost 133-118. They allowed the Bulls to shoot 53.4% from the field, including 16-35 from deep. Demar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, and Nikola Vucevic combined for 63 points, while Kobe White dropped 24 off the bench. The lackluster defense that Houston played cannot be repeated in Indiana, or the result will be similar. Christian Wood led the Rockets with 23 points. The loss brought the Rockets to an abysmal 3-14 road record. The Pacers have been a better team in home games, but they have not covered the spread in their last 4 home games against a losing team. The possibility that Malcolm Brogdon may not play in this game is also significant. The Rockets have lost 4 of their last 5 games, with each loss coming by 13 points or more. Although that may sound like a reason to avoid Houston, the points here are just too many for me to take the Pacer when it's possible they will not have their top scorer and assists leader. The Rockets are relatively healthy, except for not having Jalen Green, and they don't win when he plays anyway. Our first betting advice is to pick Houston Rockets. The Pacers looked like a complete joke on Tuesday night. They faced a Miami Heat team that was missing 3 starters, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and PJ Tucker, and lost by 31 points. The game was never competitive as the Pacers were outscored by 12 points in the first quarter, 11 in the second, and 6 in the third. It was so bad that Miami veteran Udonis Haslem even got in the action and drilled the Heat's 22-3 of the game. Miami got 75 of the 125 points from undrafted players. Last night Houston lost its 2nd straight game, and for the 6th time out of its last 8 games. The recent slide game after a 7-game winning streak. Houston shot 36-86, 41.9% from the field, 13-45, 28.9% from 3, and 67.7%, 21-31 from the free throw line against the Bucks. Christian Wood led the team with 20 points and 11 rebounds, and on the season, leads the young squad with 16.9 points and 11 rebounds per game. Our second betting advice is to pick over the total. Quick reminder, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. 5 plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 500 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting advice that ends up costing you a lot of money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks and advice. Atlanta Hawks vs Philadelphia 76ers. Leading their scoring output in the game was small forward Cam Reddish, 11.1 ppg, who scored 34 points in the game and was one of 2 players to score more than 9 points. The defense needs to step up more consistently as they are allowing 45.8% of shots to fall against them and are giving up 110 ppg, which is 24th in the NBA. They need to play even better defensively if they want to pull out the win. The Sixers are missing Andre Drummond, Shake Milton and Danny Green, but those losses pale in comparison to the hits the Hawks have taken on their roster. On paper, this game is an absolute mismatch. Joel Embiid will be able to take what he wants on offense against a Hawks team that was already a defensive liability in the first place. Opposing teams are averaging 48.5% shooting against them in their last 3 games. That isn't going to suddenly get any better with most of the starting roster members on the shelf. Embiid and Tobias Harris will feast on easy buckets all night long, with the Hawks lacking a legitimate rim enforcer to survey the paint. They have no means of defending in the front court, and the rebounding, which was already bad, will be even worse. I'd also expect the Hawks to play hot potato with the basketball and succumb to turnovers with a new starting lineup. Our first betting advice is to pick Philadelphia 76ers to cover the spread. Opposing teams were already averaging 110 points per game against the Hawks this season. Imagine how bad it'll get with their starting roster in shambles. Philly is still a work in progress on the offensive end of the floor, but they'll surely look like they've found their way in this mismatch. Embiid and Tobias Harris should be able to bully the Hawks in the front court throughout all 4 quarters. On the defensive end of the court, the Sixers are holding opponents to 44.3% shooting on their home floor. They've clearly started to tighten things up in recent outings, especially when playing at the Wells Fargo Center. Perhaps they can finally show a little life on the boards as well. They are currently the worst rebounding team in basketball, but that might not even matter against a diminished Hawks team. Our second betting advice is to pick under 218.5. New Orleans Pelicans vs Orlando Magic. It has been a trying first half of the season so far for the Pelicans. They are still without all-star forward Zion Williamson and have had to endure multiple losing streaks on this season. Against Portland, the Pelicans turned to their other all-star, Brandon Ingram, and he provided the team with 28 points and countless buckets when the team needed them most. Nickeil Alexander-Walker came alive in the second half to score 22 of his 27 points to help the Pelicans to the team's first 3-game winning streak of the season. Josh Hart netted 20 points and Willy Hernangomez chipped in with 13 for a Pelicans team that shot 53% from the floor in the win. The team has now put together 8 wins in the past 13 games after an abysmal 3-16 start. The Magic were finally able to put together back-to-back wins thanks to circumstance. Look, I'm not trying to poo-poo their wins, but they aren't beating the Brooklyn Nets and Atlanta Hawks in consecutive games if both teams had healthy rosters. There's a reason why they have the second worst team in the league. That isn't to say the Pelicans don't have some of the same problems. Their defense has looked downright atrocious at times, and they aren't scoring nearly enough points to stay in games. But even with all of those issues, they're still the better team on both ends of the floor than the Magic. Our first betting advice is to pick New Orleans Pelicans to cover the spread. The Pelicans are missing center Jonas Valanciunas, which could open up space to attack the rim. That strategy might prove best for a Magic team averaging 42.3% shooting this season. They're going to need buckets to keep pace in this matchup. New Orleans has struggled offensively throughout the season, but Brandon Ingram will be the best player on the floor. He's going to heap some pressure on the Magic they haven't felt in their previous 2 games. Orlando is hopeful to get Wendell Carter Jr., day-to-day, back in the lineup, but they'll still be without Cole Anthony and Michael Carter-Williams. The Pelicans are allowing 47.5% shooting and 109.9 points per game on the road. So they aren't much better off than the Magic defensively. The Pelicans received some bad news on Wednesday when it was reported that center Jonas Valanciunas was going into the COVID-19 health and safety protocols. So that essentially leaves the team without their primary rim enforcer and second leading scorer. It's a tough blow for a team with the league's 4th worst scoring offense. The timing must be frustrating as well, with them finally starting to build a little momentum with 3 straight victories, including a recent 111-97 win over the Portland Trail Blazers. Our second betting advice is to pick over 216.